Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Self-Love Sanctuary, where we celebrate the magic that is you.
Today we're going to be discussing one of those topics that may look very different for everyone, but I feel like the pain is just as
Equal for everyone too.
yeah.
And that is infidelity. I don't know if everyone's been through it, but first of all, I want to just kind of send a message to those who have been cheated on.
Who are currently going through it.
Yeah.
Or navigating the relationship.
I know it's hard. I want to let you know that there's light at the end of the tunnel. That this has nothing to do with you and everything to do with them. Don't compare yourself. It's not about comparison. It is about knowing that good riddance. Thank God, thank the universe, or whatever you believe in, that you removed this person out of my life. Mm-hmm. And if you decide to stay, know that there's no judgment. Mm-hmm. Know that if your support system is judging, understand that they're coming from a different perspective. Yeah. That they love you and they're just looking out for you. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But just know that we got your back. We know what it's like. And if you are currently going through it and you want someone to talk to, you got us. DM us, talk to us. We know how hard it is. Yeah. So let's begin. Some signs that you are being cheated on. It's kind of triggering.
It is. I want to see if we had some similar signs.
Okay. So,
what was like your first sign?
Changes in behavior. For me, was like a slight shift in behavior. It wasn't even like a big one, but it was loud enough for me to notice it. And only me. No one else around me noticed it.
And the mood change.
Mm-hmm. There was something going on. Like I felt like I couldn't put my finger on it, but I knew that something was going on. It was like the little things, like the less little details. Like, for example, the person would make me coffee in the morning, would now no longer make me coffee. Mm-hmm. You know, just like, or a big one that I just had no proof. My intuition was guiding me. And we'll get into that too. Which was when we fought, there was no... Like, there was not an immediate, like, let's talk about it, let's fix it. Because usually he was the one to fix it immediately. I'd be the one to, like, be angry for a bit and, like, pout.
And then you didn't get that anymore.
I didn't get it. And it was right before I caught him. But, like, before that, there was nothing else. It was just, like, the little things. Or forgetting, like, the simple things. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, this man is up to something.
For me, it was just being bothered by everything. Since when do you care if I use the blue towel or the brown towel?
Since when?
Or I'm putting away the groceries and it was like, no, that doesn't go there. I put the deli meat here. So when the fuck do you care? Yeah, like, he would just snap for everything. Also getting defensive when you would question them.
Yes.
I would never forget. I had like that gut feeling, which it's just that feeling that you just get in the pit of your stomach. And I asked him.
I asked him too.
Like, are you cheating on me? And this man looked at me and said, if you think I'm cheating on you, why are you here with me right now?
Gaslighting ass motherfucker.
I should have just known. I should have never gone on that plane.
Another thing is turning tables, which is, I think, gaslighting, all of that.
That's such a big one.
They get defensive.
And the times that I've gone through, like, you know, the cheating, or I've gone through that situation, it's always a turning table. Are you cheating on me? Who are you looking at work? Who are you texting?
You're guilty.
Who are you talking to?
You're guilty, so you're here blaming me. Sometimes it could be insecurities, but 89% of it is you're cheating. But I will say there is, and we'll get into this, where when you've been cheated on and now you move into another relationship, and now you have trust issues. Mm-hmm. So we'll jump into that.
Another one I feel too is the sudden changes in appearance, or suddenly wanting to go to the gym more often, taking care of yourself more out of nowhere.
What I found was weird with my situation was my ex got uglier. I am not kidding. He like grew out his beard. He looked disheveled.
Well, because he was stooping down.
Yeah. I'm sorry guys for my horrible laugh, but that was funny. I love that. Good riddance. But also another one is changes in communication. Like we're no longer sharing these big moments anymore because now you're sharing with someone else. So it's impossible.
And communication also plays a really big part, which we'll get into that also, on how it can play a big part
in cheating. I also think selfishness is a big sign as well. Like overly selfishness. Like I don't care about you anymore or your feelings or what you're going through, or let's say you had a long day and your person doesn't want to hear about your day.
That's a big one.
That's a big one. Like why are we there?
Yeah, where they're no longer your home. Where you can't come home and just
Unwind,
say what's on your mind, unwind. Right. They don't want to hear it. Or here we go again.
Yeah. And then a big one. And I think this is for both male, female, they, them, she, decreased intimacy.
Oof. Yeah.
I think both parties will experience that. Because now you obviously are attracted to another person. And you're probably already having sex with the other person. So now your want to have sex with your current person is not there anymore.
Yeah.
Women will experience it with their partners where, you know, they're not having sex as much. A lot of girls and women are okay with not having as much sex.
Right.
But then there's other women who need it more often, so you will notice it a little bit more.
Yeah.
And then the same thing for males. Like when women are cheating, women will definitely not have sex with you.
Definitely.
Because women are emotional cheaters. Because you're already having intimacy with somebody else. So
it's a big part. I don't think it's the
part.
biggest, but it definitely is a big part.
Because if you don't have that intimacy, what separates you from being friends?
Right. There's levels to intimacy too, though. It's not just
sex.
It's not just the sex. And if there's like just a decrease in all intimacy overall, that's a big issue. Because I feel like there's times where you might not have a lot of sex.
Yeah. But
once that intimacy is not there, where you're not getting that love in the mornings, you're not getting that love at night, you're not sleeping together anymore.
Yeah. I could never be okay with sleeping with someone sleeping in a separate room with me. But a good one too is, what are some key reasons as to why people cheat? Obviously, there's a plethora of reasons. None of them make it right.
None of them make it right. There's many reasons that can lead to it.
Yes.
I feel like one is miscommunication.
Okay. About what though? Like boundaries? Like what is okay
in your
what's
relationship, just expressing your needs.
Okay.
What you need from your partner. Because I feel like if you don't have a clear communication on what you need, that can lead to a lot of problems.
Yes.
If you just don't communicate it.
Yeah, looking
if
outside.
Where you have an issue, you just shut down and you don't speak about it. Like, how is your partner supposed to know what you're feeling?
Yeah, and how to fix it.
Right.
That's true. And I agree.
That's actually a really big issue.
Yeah, it is. Another one for me is low self-esteem.
Yeah.
If you don't love yourself and don't see your value, you're going to stoop down and do what I would call a low-class act, which is cheating. You're not going to really think about somebody else because you're trying to fill a void.
And you need someone to give you like kind of
validation.
That validation, or like boost your ego.
I'm important.
And you're important, when you should feel all that
on your own.
On your own.
And then your person adds to it. That's 100%.
Yeah.
A lack of emotional intimacy. Now, do you think this is more for women, or do you think this is for both parties, like, or all parties?
I feel a little bit of both.
Yeah, because men need,
men need that
masculine energy needs a little bit of loving for sure.
I feel like men need to feel loved and heard as well.
Yeah.
Because I feel like when they don't feel heard, they go looking for that, for like a safe space.
Yeah.
You know, where they should be able to come home and be able to unload and unwind as well.
Yeah.
You know, so I feel like the emotional side, that's for both parties.
Yeah.
A little more for women.
Yeah,
because we're all more emotional.
Like our feminine energy is always like, we need a little more.
But I feel like it does go both ways, for sure.
Now this one, I'm kind of on the fence about commitment issues. Why are we in a relationship if you have commitment issues? You would probably have those red flags before you even get into a relationship with this person, that they have commitment issues. So do you want to accept that too? Like, yeah, that's something you see coming. This is like one of those things that you're like, you pass by them and you're like,
oh, he's trying.
Or
they're trying to change.
No, if he's not willing to commit with you, or she's not willing to commit with you from the beginning, then for what? If you guys are in the talking stages and then this comes up, I'm not going to go further with you. Because can you imagine how it unfolds? It unfolds into infidelity. It unfolds into lying.
Inconsistency.
This one's a lot to just digest.
Yeah.
So for me, I think that it's a key reason but I feel like at least for this one, you can see it coming or assume that it might happen based on just the issues that come with commitment issues, right?
So you feel like it can come from like anger and resentment as well?
Oh yeah. You can be angry at your partner and communication. Also, if you have anger or resentment with your partner, it can come from a previous infidelity that you forgave and now you're either cheating or it's happening again, or it could be just, lack of communication, something, not feeling fully validated by your partner, not feeling love, like lacking emotional intimacy, lacking, physical intimacy. All this can begin to become resentment.
Yes.
And then you get a little bit of attention from an outside party, and you're like, woohoo, like you're just excited, and now you forget that you are literally in a committed relationship, and now you're gonna do something that should not be done to someone else.
Yeah, no.
It truly should not. Do you think that this has to do with attachment issues? Because everybody has different attachment styles. Like, let's say if you're avoidant, you're probably not gonna be someone that comes up to your partner and tells them that you're done. Or let's say if this one goes into childhood trauma. I do believe that cheating she does it, and that's okay. I just feel like with research I
feel like it depends,
it depends. Oh, for sure.
Of what you're doing. I feel like it can go into it. Yeah. But that's when we speak into like, cheating when you're young and you're a teenager versus
cheating as a full adult married
in a committed relationship that you fully committed to be into a relationship.
That is true. And you don't also have any understanding to others' feelings. You don't give a shit when you're young. You're selfish, yeah. And it's okay to be selfish because, some people just shouldn't be in our lives. But I do think that you got to think about others, especially when you're an adult. Like, you have to take that step and take accountability and action.
Yeah.
When you no longer feeling a relationship, either you water it or you let it go.
And that's where communication comes in, and being open and honest in a relationship is the most important thing. And where you tell each other from the very beginning, the moment something bothers you or the moment that you're not receiving something from this relationship, please let it be known.
Yeah, because you're wasting people's time. And another one is situational factors. This one I think is very common. I think at work, you see this coworker all the time. And this is just based on research that I've done where I'm like, wow, I didn't know that a lot of infidelity happens in the workplace. I'm trying to think of a reason why you would even do it.
So you're around them a lot.
Yeah, sure, but I feel like, was there something going on before in the relationship that has opened up that situational factor to be considered?
It can go both ways.
Her perspective is going to be a little different. But one thing that I didn't know about, so another thing to me that I didn't know about, that I did a little research on, and I had to tell you about.
Yeah, you had to tell me about it.
I thought cheating is a PTSD, but it actually has its own section and own wording. PISD. It alters your brain chemistry. You have difficulty trusting people after that. And I'm going to read the definition for you guys because I freaked out. I was like, I didn't know that this had its own post-infidelity stress disorder. Many people who discover infidelity develop PISD, which can cause symptoms similar to post-traumatic stress disorder. Symptoms that include fear, confusion, helplessness, and intrusive thoughts. Another one, which relates to PISD, is brain chemistry changes. Now, this one's crazy. Infidelity can disrupt the brain's release of dopamine and oxytocin, which are chemicals that are released when a person is in love. When a person experiences infidelity and feeling rejection, their brain chemistry may be altered. So when you have this opportunity or chance to cheat on someone, don't. Man up, woman up, and leave.
Just don't. Just leave.
You cause emotional distress to somebody who you love, and they're gonna have to deal with that and work through that for the remaining of their life. It's literally the 7 stages of grief.
Yeah.
And the only reason I could say that is literally because my therapist told me that's what it is. I'm gonna Google the 7 stages of grief just to run it by, because this has a lot to do with emotional stage. So let's see. Shock and denial, which is the first one. Pain and guilt, which is they begin to feel the pain both physically and emotionally. This one I talked to her about because in all my friends is that I don't get how heartbreak can be so physical.
Physically.
I felt like somebody grabbed a knife and just shoved it in my heart. How? So, while a broken heart doesn't literally damage your heart muscle, information that I needed to know, the feeling of physical pain during heartbreak is due to the brain activating the same neural pathways used for physical pain when experiencing intense emotional stress. So your brain will try to release the emotional pain and the stress by causing physical pain. You really are causing detrimental damage to somebody that they're going to have to work through. And think about it this way.
A lot of work to do.
Not everybody has access to therapy. Not everybody has access to all the ways to better yourself after this. Sometimes you don't have a good support system. You can't communicate about it.
People that haven't been through it
won't understand
you.
It's very different. Another one, an emotional stage, which is part of the 7 stages of grief: anger and bargaining. Yeah. Another one, depression. I think that's normal for everybody.
Oh my God, I was so depressed.
Then there's the upward turn. I haven't heard of this one. As people allow themselves to experience the pain of their loss, their brain, body, and heart and soul begin to heal.
That's true.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Reconstruction. People feel less overwhelmed by emotions and have more energy to move forward. They may find meaning and growth after a traumatic event. Absolutely. That one I agree. And then last but not least, acceptance and hope. You learn to accept it. And that comes in waves. There's days you accept it, and then there's days that you don't.
That you're still questioning it.
Yeah. And before we go through all the overcoming, I think it's time for me and Yana to share our personal experiences. Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
So speaking of the key reasons behind why cheating may happen, do you feel like, looking back at times that you were cheated on, there was like a reason behind the cheating? Because that takes accountability.
Yeah.
Both from you or the partner.
I really truly believe there was a reason why he cheated. You never really will know exactly why.
Right.
I only am able to kind of narrow it down because I was with him for 10 years and I grew up with him. So I'm able to really see why he did it. Do I think that there was opportunities for him to speak to me about it? Yes. Do I believe he was a coward and couldn't do it? Yes. And do I believe that he wanted his cake and to eat it too? 100%. I'm going to give you guys a little dive as to what happened. Obviously, I'm keeping this one for my divorce episode, but I'll just give you guys a little bit of the overlay of what happened and what I felt. Fast forward a while ago, I had this intuitive feeling.
Okay.
It didn't come immediately. It came when I noticed a shift. I was like, oh, okay. It was so subtle. It's not something you'd notice, but had been with him for so long.
Right.
That anything subtle won't go past me. Fast forward. He was a traveler, so he worked traveling. There was just, I didn't get a phone call one night. Next morning, I'm on fire. Why didn't I get a phone call? So I caught them pretty early on where nothing was developed. Oh, I'm pretty sure they did it all, right? And she knew, too. How much she knew, I don't know. Because men lie. They usually know. They know something. I'm like, are you cheating on me? Like, just tell me, don't waste my time. We've been together for long enough. Like, you can talk to me. It'll hurt regardless, but I need you to tell me. Simple. My time is so valuable. I reached out to one of my friends and I told her, and I was like, hey, I have this feeling. Everybody told me I was crazy, except my best friend. She was like, there's no way. I think that maybe this is like an insecurity or something. Like, have you thought about that? Or, and I'm like, something in my gut is telling me. And this is why when you have an intuitive hit, believe it.
Believe it.
You may not have any proof, but this is your body, your spirit telling you something is going on. And I'm telling you, every time I've been cheated on, I've only found out because of my intuition.
Oof, me too.
And then when I follow it, the proof literally falls into my hands.
Literally.
I'm not even looking for it.
And it usually, like you say, it happens so fast. It's
was
all
done.
there,
Yeah.
right here.
So fast forward, I tell my friend, no proof. Anybody who knows me who's listening to this podcast, I do tarot and I do oracle readings. I turn to my spirituality during this, and obviously it's going to look different for everybody else. I start to do readings, and I have like these angel cards that tell you yes or no answers and things like that. I asked it 10 times. I'll never forget that night. It was literally the night before I caught him. Is he cheating on me? Every single time, yes. And I would mix the yes. I'd take one out, and like I was trying to cheat the system.
Right. You're trying to change the answers.
I was trying to change the answers. It still came out. I knew I was about to find what I was looking for.
Yeah.
And I did. It happened so fast. I called him, and he's in a different state and a different country. Blew up his phone, he answers. I'm like, hey, I'm gonna ask you one last time. Are you having an affair with blank?
Name and all.
Said her full name, honey, with my chest. And what do you here you go again. I told you these are your insecurities. Like, I love you. I'm gonna ask you one last time to be honest. I swear on my mom's life, bam, hit him with the facts. I told you I'd catch you. I told you not to waste my time. The best thing, and to end the story, no man is going to sit here and disrespect me. I know my worth. I know I'm beautiful and I'm irreplaceable.
Yep.
So, and that's why I'm very grateful of where I was in the process of when this happened. That's how I knew that this relationship had run its course, because I was able to pick me. Remember when I told you guys when I was younger, I didn't pick me?
Yeah.
I picked me this time. I went with my intuition. I found the best therapist until this day. Amazing. And I was hurt. I was so distraught. And this is why I said, like, heartbreak can feel so physical. I just kept telling my best friend, when is it going to stop hurting? And she was like, no, it's not. Feel it, Tahina. Feel it. And because I felt it with my whole being, I'm on the other side and I love it. I needed to feel it. Feel it. Know why it happened. Understand that he just couldn't man up to me and tell me the truth when he had many opportunities to tell me. And sure, it hurts, but it's a different type of pain though. He left me with trauma that my poor future partners have to deal with.
Feel betrayed.
Yeah, I felt betrayed, especially like, yo, we've been together since we were young. This is just something that...
Yeah, which is so different when it's been so many years versus...
And married.
Just a year or 2 years. For example, it wasn't that easy.
No.
But when I made a decision, I knew. I was like, oh no, if this is even a year in, what's going to come to me after? I'm way too young for this. You know, I don't deserve it. He would make me happy in other ways. But once I found out he was cheating on me, disrespecting me, just all the nasty things that he was doing behind my back, I was just like, no.
How did you find out?
Intuition, girl. Intuition. I was young. I was 9 years old. He was about 8 years older than me. That played a big part too in our immaturity level. I was very immature.
Yeah.
Which there was things that I feel could have led to it, but still no excuse. Again, you could have communicated. You could have been honest. You know, we traveled together. Like, we spent a lot of time together. I loved his family. He loved my family. Like, my family couldn't even believe it. Are you sure? I'm sure. And I felt it. And same, it was like, oh, but you don't have the proof. I feel it. It was something that I felt and I could not shake it off. And I knew, I was like, this is not butterflies.
No.
That he's giving me right now. I knew it was coming. And I kept telling myself, like, don't dig, don't dig. And I just got to the point where I was like, no, I followed that gut feeling. And like you say, things just happen. I remember it was a day before we left on our trip to Dominican Republic to celebrate his birthday. I'm going to trust you until you give me a reason not to. And it was one of those situations where, like, he didn't call me that whole night, you know, or he told me he had to work a double shift, I think what it was. Things that weren't adding up. I remember one day I saw, like, a scrunchie that was not mine.
Oh my.
I started seeing things around the house, and I was like, something is not right.
I'm sorry, my mouth is.
Yeah.
Because to bring somebody to our house is crazy.
Exactly. Even just the way that he was treating me, and that's why I tell you, like, the changes in the mood or the way that they treat you, things that bother them, you know, that's what it was. It was like, like, when it came to intimacy, like, all of a sudden he wanted me to do things that I normally wouldn't do.
Yeah.
Mind you, in our entire relationship, I had never gone through his phone. Okay? But I just had this thing where I was like, oh my God. But what I see is a message from his best friend. Right?
Yeah.
That said, I don't want to hear or see the walk of shame in the morning. You know exactly what you're doing.
Man, that's a good man.
Shout out. I read that. I was like, I don't even need to keep looking.
Yeah.
When I go to deleted messages, naked pictures.
Oh, we're fighting.
I didn't even know what to do. I called my mom. I remember I ran to the backyard and I called my mom. I'm like, Mom, you're not going to believe it. She's like, calm down. It's okay. Like, you'll get through it. You're leaving to Dominican Republic tomorrow. Like, and I was like, no, I'm going to pack all my bags and I'm leaving. Like, I'm not going on this trip. And my mom was like, you're going on this trip. Like, you go and you enjoy that trip and you make the best out of it. And when you get back, you leave his ass. And I was just like in tears.
Yeah.
In tears. And I honestly, I did not want to leave. He tells me, as you know, the night passed, I couldn't sleep. I was crying up all night. He's like, what are you doing? Like, you're fucking crazy. Like, what are you going through now? What are you making up in your head? Like, there's nothing going on. Mind you, I had already seen the proof.
Yeah.
So I knew. Like, I didn't enjoy that trip.
No, there's no way.
I remember giving him the opportunity. When we ask,
it's because
we
know.
fully have all the proof.
Why lie?
And I looked at him dead in the eyes and I said, are you cheating on me? And that's when he said, well, if you think I'm cheating on you, why are you in this trip with me right now? I was like, no, you're right. Like, I'm ready to go home. That's it.
No remorse?
No remorse.
When
it was just, to me, it was the levels of disrespect too. Like, you know, okay, you cheated, whatever. But to the levels of like talking about me,
they all do that.
Of course they do. It's just disgusting. And that to me showed me like I could never cheat on somebody.
No, you have so much power to destroy somebody.
You really do. And it's just, it's not worth it.
It's not worth it.
If it's not your person, just let them go. It's gonna hurt, but it really is a different kind of pain.
It is.
It's like a pain of, okay, he was honest.
Yeah.
And we're just not for each other.
Yeah.
This relationship is not gonna work. We all grew our relationship.
Yeah, which is natural.
Just, we don't have the same goals. We don't have the same values. Shit happens. It's gonna hurt, but at least you're honest. And like I even tell my kids, it's like, if you're honest with me, I can't be mad at you.
Yeah.
It'll hurt, but I can't be mad.
Yeah.
Now I feel betrayed, or you're doing things behind my back, it's a complete different kind of pain.
Yeah, it is. And I feel like also one thing I don't understand is how other people will lower their value so much and be okay with doing that to somebody else. Although they owe nothing to you and I or to the other person.
Right.
But how are you okay accepting that?
That goes back to the self-esteem too.
But I think you should look in deeper. And really check why you're doing that.
Yeah.
Because you're going to waste so much time. And then what happens in life is karma. And a lot of people don't believe in karma, but she comes knocking. And it's just for that, I'd rather have good karma and not cheat on someone. I'd rather just leave you and let it be. You know, it hurts because when you leave someone, it's not just one pain. You're dealing with like the loss of the future. You're dealing with a lot of stuff. So it's not good to cheat on someone. It honestly just take the easier route, which is to tell somebody.
It might sound harder.
Yeah, but it's easier
to have to be honest,
because then you can be free and like live your life.
You know, so just be honest. I mean, men and women, honesty is key.
Honesty is best policy, and it sounds corny, it sounds cliche, but it honestly is. Now, what we kind of want to talk about is overcoming it.
Yeah.
So we're on the other side, and sure, we sound a little like scorned when we talk about it, but
oh no, we went through it.
We're Latin. We're gonna have some spice. Ways to overcome it. I definitely went to therapy.
Just sad. I was sad.
I was mad. You know, she knows.
Oh, I know.
I was mad. And
understandable. It was 10 years of your life.
I knew that I needed to talk to someone before he came back because I was not about to react. And I was like, I don't feel like this action deserves a reaction. So I wanted it to be the best reaction for me, which was no physical damage. So
Yeah, you learn.
I did therapy, and I think that was like one of the most beautiful ways to start my healing journey, because I got to see I'm so strong. Oh my God. Like, and the cheating is just that little bit of the story. Therapy was just so beneficial for me. It helped me see things in a different light. It helped me understand my anger. I was just so betrayed that I was angry. I was mad that I gave you so many opportunities to just come straight with me and tell me, and you chose not to,
Yeah.
and you chose to still cheat on me. And then obviously, once I was able to work through the anger through therapy, I was sad. But I was sad at mourning the future
Yeah.
and who I thought he was. It still hurts. Whether you're already checked out in the relationship, whatever it can be, it still sucks.
Yeah.
I got to start over, and that's why, guys, therapy is amazing. People knock it. It's amazing. You get to communicate with someone who is not biased, because what happened was my friends were biased, my parents were biased, his family was biased, and collateral damage is also very painful. And also communicating with somebody who wasn't so emotionally invested and who was looking out for just solely me. So therapy is amazing. For those who can't, start loving on yourself, because not only do you have to trust others now, you have to trust yourself.
If you're starting a new relationship, or if you're in a relationship where you feel like you guys are going through certain struggles, it's so important to communicate.
Yeah, and also like letting them know that this is something that you are going through. Once I was able to communicate it in my, current dating life, he understood me on another level and has a little bit of more grace with me. He gives me that assurance and reassurance that everything is fine. I'm grateful for him too, because I'm like, wow, like he really waters me when I need it the most. And I think that's where my cup is full, but when I'm like getting a little, oh my God, this is a lot, like trusting exercises, right? Is what,
or where you want to just explode, but then your partner kind of just brings you
back down to zen. And I think that's
a good sign. Learning to be a listener also, because sometimes, in communication, someone's a listener, the other one's a talker, but you really have to learn to listen. As much as you communicate, you have to be a listener too, and your partner, understand your partner, view things from both sides, be more understanding in your relationship.
Another thing is decision making, like being able to leave. I think that's a big one. And if you stay, anybody listening to this, we are not judging. I chose to leave because I chose myself. If you feel like you have to stay,
maybe you can work through certain things, but you have to be very strong, and you have to be very prepared for your trust to be challenged, because it's hard. It's going to take a lot of time.
And if you're going to forgive it with your whole chest. You can't also bring it up every single chance that you can.
If you're going to forgive someone,
you have to
let it go.
And now forgiveness for those who decided to leave. I had to forgive myself first before I could even forgive him. Once I forgave me, I was able to forgive him. I'll never forget it.
Same.
And I think I just would never allow it to get to that point. Like, I think my boundaries are risen. And now at this point where I am, any relationship that I'm in, I'm not allowing it.
Right.
First time, and this is where you and I kind of go back and forth, is once a cheater, always a cheater. What do you think?
I've spoken to you about it. I feel like that really depends on like where you are in life. When we're young and we're like teenagers and stuff like that, like we tend to be very selfish, and we're dating around, or we're with a partner and then we're suddenly with another. And I feel like that's kind of where you learn. But if you are in a committed relationship where you are fully committed and you're cheating.
And I know I'm biased, but
because I
feel like where I'm at in my life right now.
When you're younger, again, like you're selfish. You don't really know what you want.
You're not thinking about others.
You're not thinking about others. You're just thinking about yourself and your desires and what you want. But as a fully grown adult, you're well aware of what you're doing.
Exactly. But now we kind of want to hit up, what did we do for healing? Like, what were things that we did to heal post infidelity? I did new things. I did a lot of hot yoga. hot yoga for me was immensely healing to be connected to my body.
Yeah, I mean, it was a lot of exercising too.
For me, I went to the
a lot
gym.
of walking. Started walking a lot.
Me
Started
too.
running a lot by the water, by the ocean.
Me too. I started running.
Me too. I started running. I started taking care of myself more, pouring more love into myself.
Yeah. I did my hair. Like, I did a couple different styles. I, you know, got rid of a lot of stuff that reminded me of the past. I just got to, and then, like, I found beauty in, like, buying things for myself. Like, where it was, like, getting bed sheets that were my choice.
For you.
Flower bed sheets. Ain't nobody gonna tell me nothing about no flower bed sheets. It was such an empowering move. I think little things like that. Also, working out was a big one for me because I need physical release. I did rage rooms. I did, you know, a lot of dancing. I went out with my friends. I danced. I mingled. I knew people, learned how to, you know,
like you really just start focusing on yourself and like pouring into yourself. For me, I started pouring into my business.
Yes.
Just focus on growing, being more independent, working on my communication, because healing for me too was kind of going back and reflecting on what could have affected the relationship or like what could have led to the infidelity. For me, like I said, was a lot of communication like that I owned up to. I'm the kind of person that I would just shut down in any moment of vulnerability. Knowing that something has to be communicated, I would just shut down.
Yes.
And so I learned that I had to communicate the things that I was feeling, because if I don't communicate it, how is anyone going to know what I'm feeling? So to me, it was just really working on myself and just taking those baby steps to learn how to communicate, learn to respect others when they're asking for things, listening.
Yes.
You know.
And active listening.
And I've learned that now in my relationship, how important it is to just have open communication. And you can't talk through them, that's a red flag right there.
Yeah. There's no way that's going to work out.
Yeah.
Also, like I said, I'm still working on the trust aspect of it with others, because now I trust myself, but there's moments that I'm like,
trusting others. That's why I feel like overcoming it is a lot of inner work.
A
lot of it is inner work.
I really educated myself. I'm like, how can I make myself better? How can I not be focused?
About bettering yourself.
And I'm just gonna take a little pause here and give you guys a little thing about what my aunt said to me while I was going through the cheating that really like woke me up. And this is very vulgar. For the people who need tough love, I was crying. This is probably the first week. My aunt was like, I'm gonna give you a week to cry and be a baby about it. But after next week, we're gonna have a hard conversation. Okay, the week goes by. She comes to my house. I'll never forget, it was a Tuesday. She goes, I'm gonna tell you one thing and I'm gonna say it one time and don't get offended. I knew I was gonna get offended. While you are sitting here crying over this dusty man, he is over there eating coochie on a Tuesday. And you are here crying. I don't know what that was for me, but I was like, no way am I gonna sit here and cry. Absolutely not. That's when I turned the focus to me. And in my therapy sessions, obviously I'd talk about it, but it became more cognizant to me that I needed to take care of myself, grieve the loss of the future. So if you guys need to hear that hard core truth, I had to hear it. It woke me up.
We all had to hear it.
I feel like slapped me out of it. So those are just like little things that I did, and I had to give you guys that censored message because I'm just one of those people who need to keep it real, who you need to tell me things straight, whether you think it might hurt my feelings or not. I'm not very, like, I can take it, and I appreciate it more when people are just that much more honest with me, where they're like, okay, we gave you enough time, you're cool, we're good, and that was it. Get over it. I did allow myself to feel the feelings because you have to in order to move forward, but for sure I did keep myself busy when I felt sad. I tried to limit the phone because I felt like the phone was kind of just consuming me. I wanted to get to the point where I could, like, to listen to happy music. Like, I would listen to a lot of frequencies. Like, I would just really try to, set the vibe. I'd meditate. I'd put, I'd light an incense. I just do things. I went to retreats, like healing retreats. I did things that were going to be beneficial for my future. So I can be a better partner for my next person. That's all I wanted to do. I wanted to be the best self, not only heal myself and then be a better partner and not take the toxicity and the anger and the frustration and the insecurities to my next person. That's all I wanted to do. So that's a little bit about our story. You know, we got a little vulnerable here. We talked about our cheating. I didn't want to talk about it. You could ask her. I was like, eh. But I'm glad I did.
It's not easy to talk about it, but
no. But I'm glad I did, because it's whoever I can help out there. You know, I was looking for podcasts that would relate to my situation. So I wanted to,
like we always say, I feel like speaking about it with others and just finding other people who have been through it, it really does help you, you know, and seeing the perspective and just seeing things, because at that moment, you feel like you're never going to find anybody else, you know, or that no one's going to love you like that person loves you. It's going to seem impossible, but 2, 3, 4 years from now, you're going to look back and you're going to laugh.
You're
You
going to
know?
laugh.
You're going to laugh because life is going to be so much better.
Yeah. And I had to realize that I thought my life was so bad then, like, because, you know, you're going through that, and then you literally are on the other side and you're like, whoa, I'm in such
Just
a
like
better
that
place.
door had to close.
Yeah.
For the other one to open. And I feel like every new door that opens, it's a new beginning. And it's a better beginning, I always say.
So on this week's Words of Wisdom, Yana's gonna set us off with a beautiful quote.
Yes, I am. All right, so here we go. Feelings are much like waves. We can't stop them from coming, but we can choose which ones to surf.
Yeah. So guys, thank you so much for tuning into the Self-Love Sanctuary Pod. We're very excited to have you guys tuning in every week. Let us know if you have any questions, any topics that you guys want us to talk about. We're here. Don't forget to like, subscribe.
Leave us reviews.
Yeah.
So we can help others find us in our community.
Yeah. Join our self-love journey community. So tune in next week for our upcoming episode. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And remember, you never know how strong you are until being strong is the only choice you have.
Bye, guys. Oop.